So you were 13, and it was 3 years after that you started working in your first shop. How did that evolve?
They came around the corner. I remember this dude named Peanut from my hood came around the corner. And he's like, yo, they want you to come down to the barber shop because they heard it's a kid in the hood giving out cuts for $5. They're like, who was that? Who was that? You know? It's crazy because I was rapping then too, right? And it's weird, like the same love that I wanted to get from rap, I will always get from cutting hair, even then. Mm-hmm. So they come around the corner, like, and I'm just like, nah, I don't really want to go to the shop. I don't want, it's kind of just like a thing that I'm doing, it's my thing. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't really like you know me, so you know I'm like that. Like, I kind of just be in my own zone. So it's like going in. I felt like at that time going into the barber shop, I didn't really know what I was doing for real. I didn't know where it was gonna go. I had no clue.
So you were scared?
Yeah, of course I was. But they had grabbed this other kid from my hood that was saying he was cutting hair, but he wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? So he got in the shop. He came back. Talking about he made all this money, he did this and that. I'm like, yo, shit. If he could do it, if he could go down there and get a job, I know I could go down there and get one. You know.
So was that your first job?
Yeah. Yeah, I had never had a job.
What was the barbershop called?
Get Faded.
Get Faded. Where is it located?
Ferry and Stevens. East Ferry and Stevens.
Buffalo, New York?
Yeah, in Buffalo. Yeah.
So what happened? They came around the block and found you on the porch and said...
No. They didn't come get me. Somebody came and get me and told me that they wanted me. But I didn't go.
Okay.
Homie went down there. Derek went down there.
Gotcha.
Derek was cutting.
So then you realized the potential for earning if you had a legit setup. And so you realized that and you went around the block and said, all right, I want to work here.
I can't really remember how the conversation went. It was a shout out to Brian, if you see this. The guy that owned the shop, his name was Brian. And man, he just gave me game. Like it was just ill for like somebody. Like I've had like older men talk to me. My pops of course was in my life, you know what I mean? But like I didn't like it was just a different feel, you know what I mean? Like I had people try to recruit me, hustling in the hood, like,
hustling, selling.
Yeah, selling drugs. Try to get me on that wave. I wasn't. See, I didn't start to get into that wave until I got to the barbershop. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't really trying to work for nobody. Like it was like I was approached as far as drugs. It's like you work for me, and I was like, nah, I ain't really like that. But it was like, once I got to the barbershop, I was able to buy my own drugs. But we ain't gonna get into all that. So I went to the barbershop. Brian was talking to me. And the way he was kicking it with me, like, it just felt right. You know what I mean? And there was a dude in there named Tamani who, he took a liking to me. I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from Bam. I learned a lot from Brian. I learned a lot from Tamani. And there was a dude in there older than me named Peasy. Peasy's still out here, so shout out to Peasy, you know what I mean? Peasy's still out here. Tamani's still out here, too. Brian, I don't know where you at. Bam, I don't know where you at. But, yeah, you know what I mean? That was like the crew. And then Derek was in there. So it was a kid around my age named Derek who went in there first. But he fizzled out. He didn't even stay as long as me. I ended up staying in that shop like a year and a half. Electricity getting cut off, gas getting cut off through the ups and downs, fights. Man, I seen my first gun in there. You know what I mean?
So did they offer you a chair, or was it like an apprenticeship? Like, were you...
Nah, I had no license. It wasn't official.
Or...
It was dirty. Everything about it was dirty. I don't know if everybody else had license. I didn't have one.
Right. Obviously, you're a kid.
Right.
Did you go in there with your own chair? Did you just like borrow a chair when it was open?
No. They already had chairs in there. So, I rented my chair. I think my booth rent was like $50 a week or something like that. Something like that. Mm-hmm. It was, and it was hard too. Whew, because I didn't know what I was doing.
How much more could you charge for a haircut there than on the porch?
Haircuts then was like $10, something like that. $10, I think.
Oh, okay, so you were making double.
Yeah, but I didn't deserve it at first. It took a while for me to get, I wish I had pictures of those haircuts from that time that I was doing. Cause I got pictures of me, with haircuts that they were giving me. But my cuts, it'd be ill to see like how far I've come. I could probably dig up some pictures. Like I could probably dig up some pictures out of a photo album and see some of my kitchen cuts, but not the early barbershop cuts. And I was doing that while going to school. So it'd be crazy. Like I get off the school bus,
So how long were you at to get faded?
Maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, up until my junior year.
What'd you do then?
That shop ended up closing. I can't remember if the shop closed. The shop closed. So most of those barbers is on East Ferry. Most of those barbers went over to Mr. J's. When the shop closed, I went back to the basement. That's what happened. I went back to the basement, back to the porch.
So you used the clients that you got from the shop and told them come over to my basement?
Well, we didn't have like cell phones, social media, none of that. So it's kind of just word spread. But then,
a pager? No,
oh yeah. But my pager wasn't on. You know what I mean? I was fronting with the pager. You know what I mean? So I went from that shop to the basement, back to the basement, and then I remember I can't remember who came to me and told me that most of those people from that crew was at Mr. J's. So then I ended up going over to Mr. J's, and Mr. J's, man, that shit was popping way more than Get Faded was. Like Mr. J's was like a huge name in town. Like if you take like one of the top barbershops in the town now, that's what Mr. J's was back then. They had multiple locations. So I was at the one on Genesee, and Quan was in there, Tamani was there, Peasy was there. Well, Quan wasn't from the original crew, but Quan basically owned that. Like he was like the main name in there, and there was a dude named Tree in there. And them dudes was slicing. It was to me it was like another level. Cause when I went to Get Faded was like a fairly new shop at the time. Mr. J's was like, so I really felt like I was among some people, and I knew how to cut a little bit at that time. So I came through. Still no license. You know what I mean? But I was able to move out of my mom's house from working there. And I was a junior in high school, so I moved out at the age of 17. So I got in Get Faded at 16. Went over to Mr. J's around, I think I might have been 16, 17. But I remember I moved out when I was 17. I was still a junior. Moved out, and I lived upstairs from the barbershop. And graduated from high school, still working at that shop. Up until, that shop just declined. Everybody just started leaving. And once everybody left, I was the only one there. I was the only one in there. I was the last one standing in Mr. J's. So then, I basically killed that shop because I left. Tamani, whom you're going to keep hearing his name. So Tamani came to me and told me that he was opening up his own shop. So I'm like, yo, I want to come work at your shop. He knew I was going to come work with him because I was previously with him at Get Faded. Then I was with him at Mr. J's. So he opened up his shop. All right, cool. So then I ended up going over on Bailey and Walden to a shop called Kevin's Golden Touch. Come to find out it wasn't Tamani's shop. It was Kevin's shop. And Kevin actually still comes to the barbershop to this day. So shout out to Kev. Kev comes to Fade and Florida. You know what I mean now.